How's it going, Webheads? My name is Ryan Walsh, and this is actually a different kind of video that I just kind of wanted to do for today. It's actually really late at night, but I'll be actually posting this probably tomorrow morning. Microsoft actually had their press conference today at E3, if you guys tuned in for that, and they announced what we all thought was like Project Scorpio. They kept calling it Project Scorpio. They were teasing it for like 3 years, and now we know is called the console is actually called the Xbox One X. And what the Xbox One X is really just the most powerful console ever put into a console. Like for people to just buy like a PlayStation or Xbox, like those really aren't like as powerful as like a computer, like a real computer, even though they're all kind of computers. But the Xbox One X is kind of getting there, and it's incredibly it's a really powerful machine, and it'll definitely put out better graphics. It'll be a lot faster, and it'll put out like 4K movies, and it'll have like 1 terabyte of storage and all that, which is super cool. And what I'm really going to be doing in this video is just kind of discussing my thoughts on this entire thing, this whole Xbox One X, and whether it's probably a great idea to buy it or not, and honestly just my opinions on the whole thing. Now, I will say to you, I was never really a fan of the whole Xbox One when it first came out and all that. I just feel like Xbox and Microsoft, like I was a huge Xbox 360 fan. I loved the Xbox 360. It was awesome. That was probably one of the best consoles I've ever had. I love that console so much. I still have it. I will never sell that console. I love it so much. It just will never get sold by me. Same with the PlayStation 2. I love the PlayStation 2. It'll never get sold. It's just one of those consoles I need. But the Xbox One was just missing something. I feel as though the Xbox One was like, you know, they were doing like the all-in-one Xbox One. It's just the one thing, one console. Now, with me personally, like, okay, that's cool. But it's just an entertainment system. And I feel as though they kind of lost where they really were supposed to go. This is a gaming console, and I feel as though they kind of lost the whole thing with games. I can't name that many games that I'm too excited for the Xbox One, but for the PlayStation 4, I'm super excited for it. And every single year, there's new games that are coming out that I'm just super excited for. Like the new Sony Spider-Man game I'm excited for. I think Kingdom Hearts is only going to be on the PlayStation, but I could be wrong about that. But also, PlayStation has Uncharted, God of War. They have a bunch of exclusives that Xbox, I feel as though, like, they have some exclusives, but I just don't feel as though they're as good as the PlayStation 4's exclusives. And I don't think like this little rendition of the Xbox One X does that any justice. And I feel as though now they're just trying to improve the hardware, but they're not giving us the games that we really want. In my opinion, if you guys are like huge fans of like Crackdown or like that new Pirates game that they were showing off, I forget what it's called. I think it was like Tales of Thieves or something like that, or like Gears of War or something like that. Halo, like that's something that definitely for Xbox fans they love. They just keep getting those kinds of games. But me personally, I feel as though they're losing it again. Like I feel as though Xbox is putting out this thing. They want to get those like computer fanatics, those real gamers on the PCs, off PCs, buy an Xbox One X, and that's what they're doing with this whole thing. Now, the first impressions on it, it's impressive. It is very impressive. I mean, the amount of technology and just specs that they put in this thing that I can't even comprehend that they put in this console is really impressive, and it is. And it looks great, but the thing is, do we really need it? Like, that's the thing that I'm just not, like, seeing here. Like, they have a 4K Blu-ray drive, whatever. And honestly, I never thought 4K was really that big of a deal. I still buy Blu-ray. I don't buy 4K movies. The thing is, you have to, not only do you have to have, like, you have to buy the Xbox One X to do the 4K movies, but you also have to have a 4K TV to really even have the picture for it. So is that worth it? Now I'm not spending just the amount it costs on the console. I'm also spending how much on the TV to get the goddamn TV. There's the disconnect for that whole thing right there, that I think is kind of a big deal that nobody is really talking about. Also, it's really cool. Like 1 terabyte storage, well, that's already on PlayStation, and that's already on the Xbox One. I think they had a white edition or whatever it was that came out. So 1 terabyte, hell yeah, that's something that I personally really want. I have the oldest PlayStation 4 that came out, the very first one. It only has 500 gigabytes, and that's something that I actually really wanted in a new system. I'm thinking about buying a new PlayStation 4 just to have the 1 terabyte drive, because I think that actually is something that's really impressive. And the graphics, I get that the graphics are improved, I get it, but for the average gamer, you're not gonna notice the difference. It's like you just don't notice the difference all that much. Like during E3 and all that, when they do all these like graphics comparisons or something like that, maybe you'll notice it a little bit. But in reality, you're not gonna notice it when you're playing the game. When I was watching the whole press conference and they were showing off all the different games they had, it didn't look any different. And they're like, oh, this is running on the new Xbox One X. It's like, it doesn't do anything differently. I don't see the difference. Maybe because I'm not huge into all those graphics and all that technology that's put into the hardware, but that's just personally my opinion. I just don't see the big draw to it. I don't understand what the big deal is with the Xbox One X, and how much more powerful the graphics are. I personally see it from console to console when we really take that jump and they really do like bump up the graphics big time. And another point to go off of this is really just we're getting close to the new, like the end of the console's life cycle. Like we're almost at 7 years for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So we may, and that's usually the kind of gap that they have. I'd say like 6, 7, 8 years. That's usually when they're going to start to have a new console. I mean, we just had the new Nintendo Switch. So that kind of shows you we already went from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. So that shows you big time we're getting there. And so that's why I see there's no point to buy an Xbox One X when, unless this is a new thing and they're going to stick with this for another 7 years, which I don't think they're going to do at all. But it seems as though they're going to have something else that comes up, like the Xbox 2 or whatever the hell it's going to be called. We don't know. Xbox does it totally different, but the PlayStation 5 is probably going to be coming out pretty soon, especially because Sony, the company as a whole, needs money because they're just not doing that well. They're doing better than like a couple years ago, but they need money, and a lot of their money comes from PlayStation, so that's probably something they're going to be banking on, and they're going to be making a PlayStation 5 pretty soon, especially when they have the PlayStation Pro. And I'm not bashing just on the Xbox One and all that. I'm not bashing on Microsoft. I'm just saying that I don't think it's worth it. And I was saying the same, like I thought the same thing when the PlayStation Pro came out. If we were at the last E3 and I had my channel up then, I would probably be telling you don't buy the PlayStation 4 Pro because it's not that big of a deal. Because it just isn't. The only thing that's really good about the PlayStation 4 Pro, in my opinion, is that it has 1 terabyte hard drive instead of a 500 gigabyte. That's the only thing that I think is actually important, because the 500 gigabytes is just not enough for the console to have that many games. I've already had to go and sell my games and delete the games off the console because I just don't have enough storage. That's personally just my problem with it, and I think the graphics are spectacular on it. It's up to date, it looks great. It's just not that big of a gap with the graphics on the Pro or this new Xbox One X. I just personally don't see the difference, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now to really go off the price of this system, it is now going to be $500. And this is where I kind of made the comparison of the whole 4K TV and all that. You know, like okay, you have 4K Blu-ray and all that, or whatever the hell it's called, 4K video on it. Okay, that's great. So I'm spending $500 on this console, and now I'm gonna go buy a 4K TV. Are you kidding me? No way. That's stupid. I'm not doing, like, personally me, like, I'm not rich, so I can't do that. That's just not something that I personally would do. I think that's a little ridiculous to have. But yeah, guys, that's really my overall thoughts on the whole Xbox One X. I think it's really impressive, and it's really cool that they're trying to get, those PC gamers, those guys that are really into the graphics and all that, and that actually can see the difference. If they're staring at a screen long enough, they can see the difference. But for the average, just like PlayStation or Xbox user, console user, I don't think this is something that you want to buy. This just isn't that great. Like for me, I'm just an average user, like a lot of you out there. So I personally will not buy this at all. I think this is just kind of like this is just kind of something that I personally don't need. But if you're really like big into like all the hardware and all that, this is something that you definitely want to buy, because this is definitely up to date. It's more advanced than any other console. And when they said it was the most the best console, like the most advanced console out there, they're telling the truth. That is so true. This thing is ridiculous in its specs. It's ridiculous. It completely destroys the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it definitely is probably the best console to buy for all the hardware in particular. But the games, I can't say Xbox One is better for the games. It just isn't, especially because they don't have that new Spider-Man game coming out on it. But guys, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think of the Xbox One X? Are you going to buy it? Or are you not going to buy it? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, make sure you guys smash that like button if you guys like this video. Make sure you guys also share this to anybody that would enjoy it. So thank you guys very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Bye-bye. Alright, Webheads, if you guys like this video, make sure you guys subscribe right over here to Webhead, and also check out my social media tags in the bottom right hand corner, along with my social media links in the description below, and 2 videos below me I think you guys would really enjoy. Thank you guys very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Bye-bye.